everybody? It's your boy PsydeShow along with Skeptic. We are the Devil's Work podcast. We are here to talk about fucked up movies and tell them back to you so you ain't got to watch them, but you should. Say
But
hello
you
to the people.
should. Hello, people.
What's good, everybody? We are here to talk about a really fun one. This one was This was one of my earliest memories was actually being in like the video store with my dad and my sister and like seeing the poster for this one and not like knowing anything about it. Like I don't even think like the guy told us about anything about it, but my dad was like, "Oh, what was this one about?" And the clerk just put it on and like he puts on like the first like the intro, just like the first like 5 minutes or whatever was going on, and like immediately we were all like, "Whoa, like what the fuck is that?" Like it was just like it captivated us, you know what I mean? And I'll always remember that at just like such a young age, watching this in the video store and being like completely enthralled by what was going on. But we are talking about Fallen from 1988, directed by Gregory Hoblit, I believe is how you pronounce the name.
I think 98 actually.
What did I not say? 98?
You said 88.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, 1998. And
Yeah, Hoblet. It looks like Hoblet.
yeah, I was gonna
He
say,
has hair on his feet.
yeah. Yeah, and this is
Low hanging fruit. I apologize.
you're good. This is Denzel Washington vehicle as well as a John Goodman vehicle, and God damn, is it a good cast, dude? Oh my God, the cast is
There's a
so stacked, man.
there, there's a crazy amount of people in this movie.
Yeah, James
That's true.
Gandolfini.
James James Gandolfini with a terrible mustache.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Absolutely
definitely the most
abysmal. Like
the most copish mustache of all time.
that shit is insane. I'm just
Yeah.
like, fucking Christ. How did you not lose the job?
Oh man, he's such a fucking fun character in this movie. That is so well. Everybody's acting their ass off though. That's what I'm saying. This is such a like powerhouse performances from a fucking stacked cast. Like super fun. And it just happens to be. This is why I'll put it right now too. This is also for fans of. I have a little section right here, but especially
Mhm.
Longlegs, Seven,
Yes.
The Thing, and Stigmata. Those all.
Long legs is way more. I realize now long legs is like it stole the setup
Mhm,
and the FBI element of
mhm.
Silence of the Lambs, but it's a lot more just this.
I That's exactly what I was talking about, and that's why I loved it so much because it felt so familiar to me at the time. You know what I mean? I know we have varying feelings on this movie. I
Hmm.
know that we have
Yeah,
varying feelings.
to say the
I
least.
know, but I'm just saying you can understand why I was so excited for Longlegs when it initially came out because you're right. It essentially was this, and I fucking love this movie, dog. I fucking love this movie. Watching it again for the notes, I was just getting so sucked in again. Like I had to keep rewinding it because I was just watching it at some point. I wasn't even taking the notes. Super fucking fun. But yeah, it's like it's demonic noir. Like that's the only way I could describe it. It's literally a noir movie with a demon in it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Duma Noir.
Demon noir, yeah. And I the closest thing that we've done Exorcist 3 on this show. That go listen to our Exorcist 3 episode. That is another one blatantly very inspired. This wasn't taking inspiration from that movie. Again, just
Yeah.
kind of continuing that tradition of demonic noir. And it's something that I understand why you didn't fuck with Longlegs after watching this again because I understand that Longlegs didn't stick the landing quite as well as it should have. Whereas this
Hmm.
one, I feel like the ending is fucking phenomenal. I think it's fantastic, wraps
I
up
did
really well.
enjoy the ending, but for a very funny reason that I'll save until we
Oh
get
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So we'll just put a pin in that.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So I don't have a synopsis. So vamp real quick while I look this up.
Um, I mean, I think I could give a quick one.
Do it.
Uh, a detective, ends the reign of a serial killer. That serial killer is taken and executed,
Hmm.
and upon his execution, copycat murders begin to spring up,
Yep.
culminating in the detective himself being blamed for the murders.
Yep.
But is there perhaps
A
another
supernatural
explanation?
element.
Ooh.
Absolutely. It's such, I don't know, it's a solid little premise for a movie, and then you add demon into the mix. I'm fucking sold, bro. Like
I I th-
absolutely sold.
I think one thing that would have strengthened this movie though would have been I think they give it away too quickly. I think
Sure, sure. But I didn't mind the chase afterwards. You know what I mean? Like I know what you're talking about, but I didn't mind living in that like suspense of like, ooh, he's coming to catch you. But I get that though. I do, I do understand. But I will say again, like one of this is one I always had on as a kid. It's so funny. Like I watched this movie so many times as a young child. Very much not supposed to be watching some
so
shit like
so
this.
it's your From Hell, and
Yeah.
forgive me for taking some liberties. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just talking about how I feel about From Hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I recognize
Hmm.
that it's actually not the greatest movie that's ever existed.
Oh, sure, sure.
But I watched it about 500 times in 2 years. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing too about this movie. This movie, when I was watching it again, I was like weird. I was like, what the fuck? This is a comfort movie. Like it just felt like a warm blanket again watching this movie. I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like I
you
loved
know
it all
what?
over again. It
You
was
know what?
very strange.
I could see that now that I've seen it
Hmm.
in the alternate world where we still have cable and
Hmm.
you still just like turn on the TV
Yeah.
and flip through the channels till you like just find something suitable.
Yep.
Uh, I would have stopped on this and folded my laundry.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like also
And
like
that's a compliment.
no, absolutely, absolutely. And like in that also in that respect, I feel like this is my slashers. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Like if that's it, if so people for no for context for the audience with new people here, Skeptic was the first one to introduce a movie to us that he had seen. Oh, I don't know what. How old were you?
like 11.
11 years old. Like that's fucking crazy. So like
Yeah, like
pretty
11
much
or 12.
he happened to be one of like three people maybe in the world that saw this movie at that time
Yeah,
in that location.
that paid cash money.
Yeah, yeah. And so we were able to cover the film, and eventually, lo and behold, one of our friends knew someone who knew someone, I guess, but just knew one of the stars of that film, and we were able to interview him on our show. So very full circle moment, but the love that you expressed for slashers and having watched it at a young age and very formidable years and just being like again your comfort movie as you put it, even I think you said it was about a comfort watch run at some point, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've rented it multiple times,
Yeah,
and be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know this movie.
Yeah, so in the same vein, this was kind of like this was that for me, and
They
very
should have
much
just
so.
sold it to me, honestly.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
doubt anyone else was renting it.
That's so funny.
and
But
that's
yeah,
and
go listen to those episodes. Those are super fun. Like
and
shout out Neil.
Neil and Maurice both know how much we love that movie.
Absolutely.
So absolutely
Absolutely.
no shots fired.
No, no, absolutely not. No, that movie is phenomenal, man. Yeah.
I've told you that, right? That Maurice has been spoken to about the whole situation. Like he
Oh yeah.
knows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that shit, dude. It's one of the very few like I mean, many things that we've had happen on the show that I can't fucking believe that have happened on this show.
That's something we should do.
Like a
When you're
follow-up.
listening, yeah, when you're listening back to this and editing, remember to we should reach out to Maurice and get him for an episode.
There we go. Yeah, let's do that, man. So, all right. So this is a very much like again, this is a very special movie to me. This is a very, has a very special place in my heart. But I didn't let that cloud my judgment either, man. This movie just fucking slaps. I was like the needle drops with the music hit. I was like, fuck yeah, man. It's so fun. It's so, but yeah, let's get into it without further ado. I don't have a lot of trigger warnings. I was gonna say discussion of suicide. There's definitely discussion, but I don't think anybody actually commits the act or is shown or I think there's like even discussion. Well, it's even how we're gonna go down to it, but it's like crime scenes in general. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the aftermath. That's why I like Into the Seven.
Yeah, it's really not a very gory or
No,
bloody
yeah,
or
even in then.
visual movie. There's a there's a needle at one point.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they talk about suicide. There's gun violence. There's a prison execution
Oh yeah, yeah,
at the
right off the
big
top. Yeah.
beginning, which is funny. I'm just thinking about how like that's like a like normal, okay way to watch a man die. You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
society's
exactly.
fucking just what,
Oh man. It's
you
too
know?
big of a problem for us to solve on this show.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I also
Um,
just have the last one here is just cops in general. It's a trigger warning for
yeah,
me.
oh, big time.
Yeah.
Within like the first 5 minutes of you like rolling the plot,
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to stop and be like, fuck them.
Yeah, I have it written in my notes.
Like you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly. But I love John Goodman regardless, right? He's just playing a part. I know that. Art from the artist.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, go check this movie out. You can rent it pretty much anywhere. I think it's even on YouTube for free. Shouldn't be saying that, but whatever. I think everybody got paid for this movie, so go go watch it, go enjoy it. All right. Without further ado, let's get started. So, the film begins with a narration from Detective John Hobbs, Denzel. I want to tell you about the time I almost died. We see our lead crawling through the snow-covered forest, exhausted and frantically grasping at the ground. I never thought it would happen to me. Not at this age. Beaten, outsmarted. If I go back to the beginning, that'd take forever. So let's start somewhere more recently. Reese. And we cut to John standing outside of a prison where we meet Lieutenant Stanton, Donald Sutherland. He congratulates Hobbs on 6 notches on his belt, and John corrects him 8. I think he's talking about people that he's captured, right? Like arrested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like convicted,
Yeah.
yeah, like all the way through the process. It sounds like probably all killers. It seems like that's like that he's like a star for this. There's a thing later where
Yeah.
he tells somebody he's like, "Hey, you see me on TV last night?"
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
the I can't do it, but obviously the
Yeah.
Denzel laugh. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it's so weird how he both simultaneously looks like shockingly young in this movie
Mhm.
because it's 30 years ago,
Yeah.
uh, but also shockingly looks like he hasn't aged very much, both at the
No,
same time.
exactly. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
How can you be both at the
100%.
same
Yeah,
time?
100%. Good looking cat, man. Good looking cat. All right. So they summon John to a cell where we meet Edgar Reese, an incarcerated serial killer on death row who was put there by John. This is essentially the interrogation scene from Exorcist 3. That's what I put down.
Hmm.
I was like, that's
Yeah,
all it is.
yeah,
It's just that scene.
pretty much.
Super fun though, man. I forgot who the guy was that plays Reese.
And there's this. Let me check on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Finish your
there's
thought. Finish your thought.
oh, I think it's spelled Elias, but I
Elias,
think
yeah.
I think it's
Elias.
Elias. Exactly, Elias
Oh man, he's
Cotius.
so fucking good. Yes, he's in Shutter Island too. Oh my god.
He's been in like 8 million movies.
Yeah, dude, he's so good. Oh my god.
His
Phenomenal in this.
his filmography is
Very extensive.
like a page and a half long, and it's funny. The last two movies he's been in Janet Planet and The Silent Planet,
Oh.
and those are two completely unrelated movies. Just kind of weird.
Fucking, that's so funny. Oh man, yeah, absolutely. But he's fucking amazing in this. And talk about starting the movie off with a bang, dude. Like this is how you know you're here to watch some acting in this fucking
Hmm.
movie. Like this is again how, and I talk about it in our Exorcist 3 episode too. That's just people acting the shit out of like their characters are you're very convinced those people are real. You know what I mean? You're just watching real ass like titans go at it. It's fucking amazing, and like this movie is just littered with incredible performances.
And then there's Gandolfini.
Oh
It's just unfortunate. He's just
man,
always going to seem like Tony Soprano
he
in a
is Tony
movie.
Soprano.
You
Yeah.
know, like it doesn't seem like, oh yeah, it's just James Gandolfini playing a cop. It's like, no, this is Tony Soprano trying to blend in. He's like, yeah, I fucking
Yeah.
love donuts.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
It's not his fault.
No, no, absolutely not. Rest in peace, you beautiful, beautiful soul. Reese reaches out to John, and when they shake hands, he says, "You're still a good fellow." Then begins mumbling to himself in a foreign language. And he says, "You know, you kind of remind me of someone, John. Indeed, you do. Do you like riddles?" John says, "No," and Reese continues, "Here's a beaut. Why is there a space between lions and Spakowski?" When he says it.
I had to rewind the movie so many times. I fucking shit. I was the captions on YouTube for this movie were complete dog shit, and they would come
They
up
were
like
like
10
delayed.
seconds.
Yeah, they were
It would
delayed.
no, it wasn't delayed. It was ahead. They would
Oh, was
come
it?
for me. They were coming up hella like ahead of
That's
time,
funny. It was a little bit
like
delayed on my end.
like when he walked in. Like he didn't say anything for like another 10 seconds, but immediately it was like, "Oh, hello, detective." I was like, "God damn it!" But yeah, the lines and Spakowski, like this is
Yeah.
very much a movie of this era in terms of the sound mixing.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I will say that. I definitely had to turn it up and then turn it down. So when he says he doesn't know the answer, he says, "You should know this one. Open up your eyes. Look around sometime." John goes to leave, and Reese says, "Remember this, Hobbs. A day, a week, a month." He finishes the quote in Dutch and says, "What goes around really goes around." When John leaves, we get an incredible needle drop of the Stones' "Time Is on My Side," while Reese is herded into the gas chamber while the credits roll.
And he's skipping. He's like
He's
skipping
like
and
jumping
dancing.
around, dancing around. Yeah, he's Joker dancing on the way to the fucking gas chamber.
Yeah, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, I fucking love this song too. I love the last song too. I fucking love this song
I
specifically because of this movie.
I had to look it up because this song plays about 8,000
Yeah,
times in this
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
So I was like, they must own it. So I looked it up, and in April 1971, the Warner Music Group announced the acquisition of the worldwide rights to the Rolling Stones' new label,
Makes
Rolling
sense.
Stones Records, including all of the Rolling Stones music. So that's why they were like, "What's a song we don't have to pay for?"
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, and they use the fuck out of it. I don't know. It's used effectively though. It works with the themes too. Thematically, I
It's
think it
and it's
works.
and it's and it's good for his voice.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody who sings it fucking does a great job in this too. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, but especially his voice. He has like
Yeah, yeah,
a rasp, you know. I don't
yeah.
know.
It's so good. God, especially when
Elias, you missed your calling.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but the last time we hear the song sung is probably my favorite one. I love it. All right. So,
That's true. That's so true.
yeah, no, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So while they escort him, we see flashes of low frame rate, brightly colored, distorted shots of the world through his eyes. He reaches the chair. They strap him down.
Piss vision.
Yeah, piss vision. Very much. It's dirty bathroom vision. Yeah,
Detective, if you lived in my world, the world of piss, you'd lash out too.
yeah. you, you merely adopted the piss. I was born in it.
Do you know what it's like to dunk your head in a bucket of piss and open your eyes, detective?
Disgusting.
That's every moment for
Oh my
me.
god.
Have you played Silent Hill 2?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, I
I know.
can't. Ah, there's an
Do
incredible.
it, do it. I don't care.
No, there's an incredible. I can't. I'm not going to do this to you because it's one of the best fucking moments in gaming.
Fuck.
But for
All
those
right.
who
Fair.
understand, there's a moment where someone turns around and says, "Oh, you can see it. This is what it's always like for me." And that's what I think
That's
about
it. Makes
piss
sense. Yeah.
vision.
Yeah, it's very 2000s or 90s music video. Very it's very like grunge
Cause it's
music
all
video.
right. It's all
Yes,
right.
straight up. Yeah, dude, it looks like a Nirvana music video. It straight up looks like Smells Like Teen Spirit at some point. It's so funny.
Smells like piss anyway.
Yeah, it smells like this. That was good. That was good. Clever.
Thank you.
So the gas is released, and then we get heavy Henry Rollins vibes. Heavy Rollins vibes right here. He looks and acts exactly like Rollins, like early, like young Rollins.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Like obviously I know that Rollins was in Black Flag,
Hmm.
but I'm not a huge fan of Black Flag.
Oh, fair.
But I
That's
know
fair.
Rollins mostly as an old curmudgeonly fucking dickhead. So I'm like, huh.
He's an old punk rocker. They didn't always have the greatest views, but they said them loudly.
It's weird how many of them are becoming Nazis.
Yeah. Yeah, hot button topic we're not prepared for on this show.
Wee back to the
Yeah. Let's
movie.
get back to the movie. So John's narration picks back up. Something is always happening, but when it happens, people don't always see it or understand it or accept it. And we see that same distorted POV come back, but this time it's looking directly at Reese's body in the chair and begins floating above the room of onlookers, eventually settling on a guard nearby. He looks into the camera and subtly smiles as we see his POV looking at Reese's corpse. And it was cool. I love it. I love it. Like, what the fuck are we looking at? You know what I mean? It's very fun.
Mhm.
It's a nice little bit. The mystery of this movie unfolds so fucking naturally and so well. I love the pacing of this film. So John goes to the local cop bar and sits down to have a beer with Jonesy, John Goodman, and Lou Gandolfini. Lou is trying to see whether John has ever taken bribes or broken the law somehow, presumably because he doesn't believe he's as altruistic as he appears to be. But John instead gives him some spiel about cops generally doing more good than bad while they're on the job and they're the chosen people, blah blah blah. It's
Yeah,
interesting that go
he
ahead, go
says you
ahead.
don't he says you don't ever take any cream
Cream,
as
yeah.
in like
Off the
payments
top.
off the top. Yeah. And he's like, no cream for me. And he's like, oh, so you think you're better than me because you don't take any cream and all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. And he's like, oh, well, every cop that's out there, the way I see it, 99% of the time they're doing their job. So they're doing more good out there than a lawyer or a
Stockbroker,
stockbroker
yeah, or
or,
president. That's what I was
or
like, why the fuck? Wow.
yeah. So he's like, so even if you're a crooked cop, you're still doing good for society. So
Mhm.
you're like the best people that there are.
He
And I'm
named
just
like
like,
the
yeah,
three
fuck
worst
you.
things too. It's
Yeah,
like
for
that's
real.
not better than any of that.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Yeah, very much so. I very much rolled my eyes at this and I was like, god damn it. Stop, Denzel. No, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
So we cut to the guard from earlier pulling up to a club, dressed like an extra from Boogie Nights. I put a club, I don't know, just like some street. It literally is just a street because he doesn't make it inside of a building at all. He just gets out and then we start following different people. So it's gonna, yeah, this is where I'm gonna have to like explain this whole scene because a lot happens in this little time. So he gets out of the car and begins to whistle. Time is on my side himself. He bumps into someone who's walking, and the camera begins to follow this stranger. The man walks over to a magazine stand and bumps into a woman, who is now the main focus. She walks a few feet further, who turns and hands a crumpled up paper to a man, who the camera then focuses on. The man goes to a nearby trash can and bumps into another man who finally walks over to someone getting their order from a food truck and touches his chest. So going on through all of that, it's like you keep hearing this like magical whoosh, whoosh, like
hmm
happening each time. It's
And that's
fucking
and that's the transference of the piss vision.
yeah, that's how the piss travels.
Only one may be the chosen one, the pissed upon.
Fucking disgusting.
Is a heavy burden, for
Uh,
as they say, 'tis easier to be pissed off than pissed on.
on. God damn it. That works so well.
Thank you.
The camera follows this man over to his job nearby where he asks his boss, "You know what you'd look like with this sandwich shoved up your ass? Like a fat, stupid fuck with a sandwich shoved up his ass." Put the
That was
job.
that was good. That was it was so bad it was good. I was like,
It
damn,
was. I
that's
was like, damn, all right. Respect. And he tells him like, "Hey, buddy, I hate to do this," but he's like, "Yeah. Put the job where the sandwich goes." He walks away.
yeah, but the job where the sandwich goes also pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Damn, he's super too." Pretty good. So John wakes up in the middle of the night to a phone call from a blocked number and no answer. The next morning, we're introduced to John's nephew Sam and his brother Art while Sam is getting ready to leave for school. After he leaves, John and Art sit down for a minute, and Art asks John if he ever thinks that his life would be easier if he and Sam weren't living there. That maybe John's ex wouldn't have left him if the two of them were gone, but he dismisses that and he tells him that the family comes first.
So you picked up on what's going on with Art, right?
Hmm. That yeah. He's intellectually disabled.
Yes,
Yeah.
in like the weird movie 90s way where
Yeah.
he's out there fucking raw. He got a kid, but like he's not holding down a job, you know? That's that's not, you know,
I wasn't prepared for so bitch.
like he's not too redacted to party.
God damn it. Fucking oh, you're a bastard, right? That's fucked up.
There's a part I might forget it, but there's
Oh
a
my
part
god.
later where like him and the kid go into like the same room and like lay down. It looks like on like different beds.
Hmm.
And I turned to Amanda and I was like, yeah, you and your kid could live here, but y'all are sharing a fucking room.
Yeah, straight up, yeah. I will say he is also a really, really big part of the reason why I like the movie. I like
I,
his what his character adds to this film.
I should say, to be very, very clear, I'm not
Mhm.
pointing it out because it's funny that he's disabled. I'm
Oh no,
pointing
no,
it
yeah,
out because
yeah.
it's funny the weird ass way that movies at this time
Would go
portrayed
about
that.
portraying that,
It-
yeah.
like the weird ass way they like would go out like his he's making the sandwich for his son,
Hmm.
and he's like, "What is he making you?" And he's like, "Peanut butter and jelly again." And he's
Hmm.
like, "Okay, well, here's your sandwich. I'll make another peanut butter and jelly tomorrow." And the kid's like, "Ugh." And then uh Denzel John, he's like, "Hey, do me a favor. No more peanut butter and jelly for the kid, okay?" And it's just like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
that is not that's not how this works. That's just such a weird.
yeah.
Why are you like he
Yeah, I get what
like
you're
he just
saying.
can't hear anything his son says to
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
Like
I understand what you're
Jesus.
saying. I will say though, it never felt pointedly mean spirited. It
It's
never
not.
felt, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
not. It's just not knowing how to portray it at that time.
yeah, yeah, that's
And
fair.
to just get
Yeah.
like a totally normal guy to just
Hmm.
be like, "Hey, I really hope, in all seriousness, that
Hmm.
my intellectual disability is not a drain on the household."
Yeah, 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 for
It's
sure. For
just
sure.
like
It is, yeah, for sure. But I feel like also the way that he plays it too is a lot of earnesty. I feel like he plays it with a lot. Like that's why I was really endeared to his character early on. I was like, oh man, he's pretty sweet. You know what I mean? I was
mm.
like, it's really not like. But I get what you're saying though. Obviously, yeah. In hindsight, fucking a lot of shit in the '90s does not hold up at all.
It's just overplayed in like a strangely kind of humorous hyper reality
Yeah, yeah.
way where it's like, yeah, it's just shown so, and the way that they go out of their way to explain it without just like saying it, and it's also
Yeah, yeah.
just an odd element to like even have in the movie.
I feel like the dynamic that they have is also not one that you see very often on screen. Like I don't think I've ever really ever seen this dynamic specifically on screen, like when they're portraying families in movies, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like specifically a pair of brothers and one of their sons, you know what I mean?
You
I don't think
don't call them brothers, dude. That's it's
you're
weird.
fuck. God damn it. Shut the fuck up. Dude.
No, but
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying though. Like I
yeah.
don't think like this is the very first time I've ever. I was thinking about that as I was taking the notes too. I was like, I really don't think that I've ever seen this portrayed quite like this. So it was interesting. But yeah, I was waiting for it too. And you know what? I specifically I was worried about that on a rewatch. I was like, oh, how does that hold up? I was like,
It,
oh, like
it's kind of funny because it's
you
just
know.
like I feel like they needed an explanation of why the brother and the kid would live there.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is kind of just like when I saw him, I was just like, oh, it's his brother,
It's
or
his brother who just lives there. Yeah.
maybe they live together, whatever. Like I wouldn't have thought about it very deeply. I would have
Mm-hmm,
just been
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, okay. But
Yeah, for sure.
they're just like, okay, this guy's really got to not have a job and live with him, and we really got to explain why that
Yeah.
is. They kind of just made problems for themselves that they,
I feel you. I
you
feel you.
know, yeah,
Yeah. And not too big of an overstep though. It's really not too bad.
yeah. I think it's closer to a Rain Man or an I Am Sam than
Yeah, 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 but way more tasteful, I should say, probably than that.
you think so? I think I Am Sam is, but I mean, I'm not
I don't know. It's yeah. There's a lot. That's again too big. You're asking way too big of a
maybe
questions
we need to
for
just
us on
move
this
on
show.
because actually I'm very scared now. So tell me about the demon.
So we cut to the mysterious sandwich man from earlier, sitting down at a table, having a bowl of cereal. As he brushes his teeth in the mirror, we see a pair of legs sticking out of the bathtub in his reflection. We see John walking into the precinct for work in the morning, as the mystery man watches from across the street, standing next to some payphones, puffing on a cigar at 8 a.m. Absolutely fucking vile. That was absolutely fucking disgusting. I was like that. I was gonna refer to him as the sandwich man in my notes, but I was like, "Fuck you, you're the cigar man." Now that's disgusting. Like, fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's maybe a Swisher, maybe a backwood at
He's
most.
going
Come
on.
on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he's going to fucking town on that motherfucker. It's a full ass Cuban in his mouth, man.
Mm, just throwing it.
So
He said I don't need my jaw.
too much today. Sorry, God. With John, when John gets to his desk, he answers a call, and the voice on the other end gives him an address. When he asks who's there, the voice responds with a clue, Magoo. He tells Jonesy that he got a call last night, like he used to from Reese when he was alive, which they sort of just brush off. And when they go to investigate the address, it's the house of the victim we just saw earlier. They found puncture wounds on the body and the number 18 written on his chest in marker. They investigate further and find lions space three question marks space Spakowski written on the wall behind an open door. John believes it's either an accomplice or a copycat, and maybe a guard who was there or someone involved with the documentary that they were shooting in prison. While they were going through the evidence, John repeats the riddle he was given by Reese to another detective, and Lou mentions that there must be someone named Spakowski, or there used to be someone named Spakowski on the force back in the day who was apparently the King Kong of assholes.
Back
Says
in
the
the
name.
day, he was the King Kong
Eh,
assholes. You
yeah,
know,
well,
me and fucking Furio, we
he's
went down
shoving,
there.
yeah, he's shoving a fucking sub in his mouth.
The
Dude,
fucking
it's not
he's just
helping your case.
he's just he's like, yeah, I heard of a Spakowski, and the
Yeah.
camera turns, and he's just standing there in an open bathrobe in front of the open refrigerator, just eating fucking gabagool by the handful. How
It's
fuck
fucking
like
amazing. Yeah.
God, I need
Yeah.
someone to edit that. That's oh
So
fuck,
fucking
that's
good.
the visual's too funny in my head. I love it.
So he says his name is on a plaque downstairs.
Come be for real.
He says the name is on his name is on a plaque downstairs, and he takes John a look at it. They see that there's a missing space between the names Lyons and Spakowski, so John decides to investigate. We get a montage of him discovering the identity of the missing name, and it turns out to be Robert Milano. He was Cop of the Year in 1965. 8 months later, he went up to a cabin in the woods and died apparently cleaning his gun. So John thinks that he was either dirty or it was a woman. When he brings this to Stanton's attention, he tells him that he should do them all a favor and keep whatever he finds to himself, which I think was
I wonder why he
interesting.
thought a woman.
Like, well, I think he means like, oh, he was cheating or something like that, or like
Oh,
a woman caused
oh,
him to you know
oh,
what I
okay,
mean?
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's that old noir speak where it's like that's kind of just like they kind of fast talking with like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it was whatever. It's just like that old dialect that's just very quick and yeah, you have to catch on.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jonesy tells John about the forensic findings. The grossest being that they found a piece of the killer's teeth in the cereal bowl. It was fucking gnarly, bro. It's like,
Mm,
eh, brother, ew.
yeah.
That
Horrifying.
that was there was a similar poison involved as there was with Reese's previous victims, and that the killer was most likely left-handed. Very, very interesting details there.
Left hand Suzuki method. I think it's a Daft Punk song, or maybe it's Gorillas, but yeah, it's a song.
It might be that. Yeah, it might be a gorillas actually.
It's a pretty funny stand-in for traveling to the masturbatorium, you know?
God damn it. I am moving on. They then decide
Please
to
do.
view the documentary footage. And while doing so, Jonesy points out the fact that he's speaking different languages at different points of the video. John manages to track down Robert Milano's daughter, Greta, and pays a visit to speak with her. She discloses that she's a theology professor when he points out all of the angelic paintings surrounding them. He tells her that The reason that he's there is because Edgar Reese gave him her father's name in a roundabout way. She asks if Reese liked to sing, which he did, and if at the execution he tried to touch John in any way, which he did. She unveils the story about her father. He was apparently under investigation because he had
Show
caught a murderer.
show me on the doll where he touched you. The pastor? No, 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 not he gets a pass. The demon.
The demon. So uh he was apparently under investigation because he had caught a murderer, and then copycat crimes started happening with evidence piling up against him, even if there was never any concrete proof. He went up to an old family cabin and took his own life. And when he did,
Mm.
the force did everything they could to bury the evidence and his name.
They uh they threw the baby out with the bathwater on that one.
Yeah. So she tells John that she's sure of her father's innocence, but is afraid for her safety if she tells him anything further. As he goes to leave, she asks him if he believes in God, but he tells her in his line of work it's hard to maintain the faith.
She says it in such a weird way,
Yeah.
in such a in this movie, he's realsies.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
We mean for realsies.
like it's just funny. It always cracks me up when people are like, well, yeah, that character said that thing that would define the entire art piece, but that was just that character's interpretation of it and your interpretation of what they said. And it's just like, who do you think put the words in their mouth? You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, just do you believe in God?
I always think of the fucking reaction from. Did you ever see? Oh, you saw Dogma.
Hmm.
Fucking James on the bomb at the table where she's like, "Do you believe in God?" They're both like, "That's fucking funny." I
God.
love that. That was my reaction upon watching this for the second time.
We got to do Tusk at some point.
Oh hell yeah! We've talked. That's actually on our fucking like spreadsheet too.
Tusk
Yeah,
is supremely fucked up.
yeah. I love that movie with a fiery burning passion.
I
So
like everyone said they hated it at the time, and I left that movie and I was like, well, I feel horrible on like an existential level, which means like that's one of the best horror
yeah,
movies I've ever seen.
slaps. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Movie fucking slaps, dude. So she tells John that she's sure of her father's in. Oh, wait, sorry. I already went back to this. When we see John walking home at night as the mystery cigar killer stalks him in plain sight, narrowly bumping into him. Later, the man gets off a train and bumps into someone else. I love the way that he first approaches him too, because he very much gets up close and like he just he just slips a little bit, like
yeah,
right when he's about to touch him. It's very cool. It's like playing with him, you know.
yeah. He doesn't know that it's like Mr. Magoo.
The Clue Magoo. There
It's
you
like
go.
it's like a demonic Mr. Magoo where
Yeah.
it's like the I beam is just like ducking down and it's going over his head, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So we cut to John putting Sam to bed, but as he does, the phone rings. Art answers but gets no response. Just before John leaves the room, Art asks him if he ever gets scared, which he says he does. Cooking grilled cheese sandwich in a suit for some reason. The mystery man from earlier calls up his old job and asks whether he's working that night because he
That
can't
is
remember the past
weird.
few days. Yeah, it was fucking strange,
That
dude.
is
Yeah,
weird.
I was like, why are you in a suit, dog? Like
Why
the
was
demon
he in a
the demon
suit?
is not in you anymore. What the fuck?
Hold
That was
on.
just his decision.
I'm was he really?
Yeah, no, he is. He's in
I'm
like that
like
yellow, like nasty mustard ass looking suit.
I'm trying to find it now because I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. So the boss's wife reminds him that he insulted her husband before quitting and hangs up just as there's a knock at his door. When he opens, the man who bumped into him earlier barges in and attacks him with a syringe filled with the aforementioned poison Reese would use. Did you find it?
No, I'm trying to scrub through 2 hours of movie here.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. But he is. I have it in there because I was just so thrown off. I was like, why the fuck are you in a suit, dog?
Yeah, I
It's
like
like
kind of
10
remember
p.m.
it.
Like,
And also, you're like a sandwich delivery guy, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's
believe
not
you
that
me,
deep. So,
believe you me. If I didn't have to wear a fucking suit
yeah.
for work, I would not.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, yeah. Because it's a complicated process. That's why it's like, for me, it's reserved for special occasions.
He is. No, you know what? It's the morning.
Oh, is it the morning?
Oh no, yeah, no. So the morning is when
Because
the demon, because
he keeps talking about
he
getting
leaves out the
calls. Yeah.
cornflakes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's like part of his thing is he leaves out the cornflakes. So in the morning he's in a suit, and he leaves out the cornflakes, and then I think at night is when he makes the call.
It's
And I
I don't
can't
know,
find
man.
that,
It's
but he's
fucking
also in
strange.
a
Like
suit at that time. That's
that's what I'm saying.
hilarious.
It's so weird. It's very I don't know, it's quirky though. It adds like so much character to the movie. Like I was just like I didn't mind it. Like it never registered as strange to me until I like watched it again, you
No, you're right,
know?
because then he like stalks him wearing a pea coat, you know? So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
why is
I think
this
it's like
delivery guy
blue or
just
something
so
like that.
well dressed
Yeah,
all
he's
the
like all
time?
dapper all the time.
What the fuck? That's so
Yeah.
weird.
Who knows? So John is watching the documentary footage again, and he keeps getting calls at all hours of the night by the killer, who is now pouring himself a bowl of cereal while on the phone. The next day,
Yeah,
oh
this legit, this made me want Frosted Flakes.
yeah, yeah, it looks bomb, dude. I was like, oh
It's been a
man, let's
while.
slap. Been too long, my friend. The next day, a linguistic professor is called in to discern what language is being spoken in the video, which he believes is Syrian Aramaic. When the detective reviews the footage some more, John reveals that Reese used to play baseball. He'd bat and pitch with his right hand. He'd bat and pitch with his right hand. Got that one mixed up. But yeah,
Mm.
very much specifically calling out he was a right-handed person.
You are completely correct. He is making a grilled cheese in a suit.
Thank you for verifying.
So
so,
weird.
so John gets a call from someone asking if he needs another clue. Then the voice gives him an address. When they respond to the call, it's the cigar man's apartment. They find him dead in the bathtub with the number 2 written on his chest. There's another bowl of cereal laid out just like the previous one, and John lifts a mirror on the wall to reveal question mark, question mark, question mark equals look in the mirror written behind it. They also find the poison laden syringe under the stove. John tells Jonesy that he recalls seeing the man on the street while he was walking home the night before. Later on, Stanton and Jonesy are talking amongst themselves in his office, and he expresses concern for John's mental state during the investigation. He's like telling him like make sure he's not running himself ragged or some shit. Like he's just like and he's like, oh well, I'll let you know when it's starting to weigh on me too, boss. Very fun. They have a great back and forth. I'm
The
telling you, I love his candor with all of the characters. It's so fun.
the the phone calls that he receives.
Hmm.
What do you think is up with that?
I mean, it's
Because all throughout the movie, he just gets calls just telling him what to do next. Like
who
it's
John?
yeah, he
No, I
gets
don't think I
calls
did.
that he got a call at the beginning of the movie when it's him and Lou in his
Oh
office
yeah, yeah.
when
For the clues, I thought you were specifically talking about the phone calls at night when there's like,
oh yeah, no, the calls that are like, hey, you need a clue, and then they give him a clue, and then he's just like, okay, and hangs up, and then he's like, hey, this is my idea, let's go do this thing.
mm-hmm.
I'm
There's got
so
to be some sort of like persuasion thing going on or something like that at work. You know what I mean?
yeah, like I don't know if it's supposed to just be like another cop calling him or something, but it's just strange. It's not.
No, it's always the
It's just never really addressed.
it's the person whoever is possessed at that time calling him. Like that's always the it's or it's so in that case it's always the killer calling him like or the person who had previously murdered someone.
So the call that just called him and was like, "Hey, do you need another clue?" and gave him a clue was the demon.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we're
it's
back.
always the demon.
So we're back to the old long legs, fucking putting the stick in your
It's it's
spokes and being mad
always
that you.
it's always a demon, bro. Like that's the thing. Like it's just you gotta fucking roll with the logic. This is just demon time right now. We're on demon time.
Yep, apparently.
So the next day, Jonesy catches up with John while he's playing basketball with Sam and Art. He pulls John aside and tells him how strange the circumstances are surrounding the case. The cigar man murdered someone only to get killed in the exact same fashion a few days later. The exact same crime scene, too. I got a bad feeling about this. This I love what he says right here. He says, "I got a bad feeling about this. Someone's playing with my dick and it ain't me."
Jesus Christ, I missed that.
I fucking love John Goodman, dude. He's got all the best line. Like literally, he's the best performance of this entire movie. It's barely a Denzel flick when he fucking enters the picture.
We talked about Denzel like
I'm
looking
just
young
saying,
in this
John
movie.
Good. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, for
John.
sure. John Goodman was very, very young.
Oh no, I was gonna say John Goodman still looks old 30 years ago.
That's so funny. Yeah, yeah.
When he was Dan on Roseanne, I was like, oh man, this guy is like not long for this world. How is
Uh,
he still here?
that's funny.
Said with very much love, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, he's the best part of any movie he's in. Literally, he's just
Yes.
the best part of it. So John decides to head to the cabin Greta told him about. When he gets there, a little guy wanders out from underneath the house. John searches the property and finds a bunch of old, dusty hit books hidden in the basement. There are moments which mark your life. Moments you realize will never be nothing will ever be the same, and time is divided into two parts. Before this and after this. Sometimes you can feel such a moment coming, and that's the test, or so I tell myself. I tell myself that at times like that, strong people keep moving forward anyway, no matter what they're going to find. I love, dude, the writing is so good on this goddamn. Like, I love all of his narration. It's so fun. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, this whole segment feels like it's inspired by Resident Evil. That's what I have in my notes. It literally is. He's looking at the fucking the photo, then he looks at the wall, and then he's like, "Oh, it's that. That's like the clue. I have to go and like do this on the wall." It literally is just a Resident Evil part.
Just like a puzzle.
It's just a puzzle in Resident Evil.
Mm,
It's so funny.
I get what you mean now.
So he grabs a can of acetone and starts clearing some grimy paint off the wall that's in the photo. Written underneath it is the word Azazel. He confronts Greta about it the next day, saying,
That's Nightcrawler's dad.
"Oh, is it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he's the son of a demon.
Well,
That's right.
well,
Yeah,
that was Nightcrawler's dad, but then they recently,
retconned it.
yeah, they revealed that Mystique, when she becomes a man, her ovaries become testicles, so she became a man and impregnated her lesbian lover, Destiny, and
Oh, god
that's where
damn.
Nightcrawler came from.
The X-Men is wild. Dog.
It sure is.
That's fucking crazy.
They just recently gave her the ability to, when she becomes a mutant, now she can completely copy their DNA, so she gets their powers.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, Mystique is wild.
Okay, all right. Well, fuck yeah. I like that they have yeah, like Azazel is biblical demon and stuff. I like that they have that worked into the story too, and also like the inspiration for X-Men too, and like like who else is the? I forgot. One of them is also like the daughter of a demon or some shit. I forgot. We're getting way off topic. Not very important.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure because Rogue is Mystique's adopted daughter.
Hmm.
So those two are siblings, but
I know there's demons in like Doctor Strange and shit too. Which,
yes.
funny enough, this guy directed Doctor Strange. He
Who
directed
did?
this director, Gregory Hoblit.
Really?
He directed a Doctor Strange film. I think it's like 1970 something, like two or four, something like that.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's
it's so
crazy.
funny. That popped up. I was like, no shit, what the fuck? It was so funny. It says that
Well, I'll be
Azazel,
damned.
yeah, yeah, it's very strange. I was like, it's cool though to see that he's working within all of these like same
Why does Doctor
inspirations.
Strange look like Nacho Libre dressing up like a pimp for a fucking Halloween party?
That's so true. The costumes are fucking wild. I know, it's crazy. So,
God.
um, so he confronts Garrett about it the next day, saying that from his reading, it says that Azazel is the spirit of the wilderness, and that among his father's books there was descriptions of demons and how they can move by touch. She tells him to walk away, and if there's even one person he cares about, he won't take this case before driving away. Stanton discloses the phone records to John and tells him that there were calls made from the crime scenes to his house at the same time that he reported receiving them. And this led to him changing his number a few times, which Stanton says might appear to be suspicious to the higher ups.
Mm.
Which I was like,
Building it up.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I like how they already introduced the fact that this had already happened before, and they're like, all right, here we go. We start building up. Let's get cyclical with it.
Yes.
So Jonesy shows John the translation from the video, and it says, I can't answer you by touch, but even when I can get inside of you, when I'm spirit, I won't. I'll fuck you up and down, left and right. And if that doesn't work, I have other ways. We cut to John reading more of Robert's book at the bar. They stalk those who prey upon them. Therefore, hide your good works is highlighted in the book. While he's walking home, we see that he is in fact being stalked. He sees the shadow duck into the subway and gives chase, but the demon is too quick and he loses him. The next day, John is at work reading even more when he happens across the line. Once inside, they know and remember. Therefore, they speak all the tongues of Babel,
Mm.
which was cool. I thought that was a cool little addition, which is why he's, explanation as to why he could speak all the languages and shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he's some ancient demon, so everyone he possesses.
He gets like their memory.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
taking their knowledge and the language they speak and
He's an X-Men. So
he's the Shadow King.
we see, yeah, exactly. So we see the demon's piss point of view and looking inside his window. But when the camera pulls back, we see a little orange guy plop down off the window and run over to the main entrance of the building before rubbing up on a random stranger walking inside.
Little orange guy.
This is so fucking cute, dude. So from here, this thing hopscotches his ass all the way to Lou, who sits down at John's desk and asks him why he was looking at a map the other day when he found him. John says that he just went out from the county up to the country for some fresh air. Lou asks where he went, and John asks why he wants to know. So Lou grins and tells him to lean closer to him. Once he does, Lou starts singing "Time Is on My Side" and turns to leave, touching another detective who keeps singing, who touches another cop who keeps singing.
Hmm.
Dude, these sequences are so fucking good. Everyone is fucking amazing in this. Like the little like 2 seconds that they have of screen time, fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a cool sequence.
Yeah, I love it. So John confronts the last one singing, and the cop is confused by his question. He realizes that the demon jumped into an old man who was just about to leave the building with his wife and runs after him. He shouts, I know who you are in Aramaic, and the wife turns around, clearly possessed.
That shit was so fucking funny. That shit was like everyone's like, throw this motherfucker in a home. Like, what was that? You know, like All right, Grandpa, we
Yeah.
all speak your ancient fucking language.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This motherfucker knows. So she asks him if he got that from the cabin and that he should keep his findings to himself before turning away and playing games with him by jumping into every single person who passes him by. Very fucking cool sequence. I love that little sequence there. It's very fun. So he sits back down at the desk and he confronts Lou, who acknowledges that other people were singing, but he swears that he wasn't doing it himself. John confronts Greta about everything on the university, excuse me, on the university campus. She reveals that God apparently cast out various angels from heaven, and since they lost their ability to take a physical form, they have to exact their revenge on Earth through human bodies. He asks her if all of this is why she lives alone, which she admits is a big factor. He offers her an ear if she ever needs to talk to someone, and the two go their separate ways. Which it was interesting. There's like aspects of it that turn into almost a romance, which I thought
Yeah,
was interesting. You know what I mean? They
it's
never went
definitely meant to
full.
be. It's definitely like meant to be on some levels. It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
feels out of place, especially like I'm here to talk to you about your dead dad. I might be fighting the same demon. Don't fucking pound me, but he's Denzel, so. But he's Denzel, and she's just a fucking snow bunny trying to distract this powerful black man from what he needs to do. Say snow to snow bunnies.
God damn it.
I'm just out here doing Dr. Umar's
God
work.
damn it. So
Lord
she
Jamar.
leaves. God damn it. Let me finish. She leaves. We see that Azazel has been spying on them and follows Greta for a while before cornering her in an alleyway. And just as he's about to touch her face, he gets sideswiped by a rack of clothing, and Greta slips away. The demon starts a fucked up game of tag to catch her, and she narrowly escapes being grabbed after jumping into a cab. That motherfucker's like breaks the window out. Like that shit is
Hmm.
crazy.
Got that demon strength.
He got that demon in him. He got that dog in him.
Either that or the demon just doesn't give a fuck about you having to go to the hospital for your broken wrist.
No, absolutely not. He's gonna get
It's
into the
not the
body.
demon's afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. So, in the next scene, we see Greta and John meeting in a church. She tells him that she ran and she feels unprepared for fighting a demon. That she thought this moment would never really come. John tells her that they shouldn't be seen together anymore. Back at the precinct, Stanton sits John down and asks him to come clean about what he knows because there's even more evidence stacking up against him. Apparently, they found John's prints on a coin at one of the victims' houses.
Hmm.
Which I don't ever. He says it's that coin of yours, and I don't ever remember what like
I don't either.
I don't remember what they were referring to because I was like, I am looking over my notes and I don't see anything about him ever having a coin or fucking
Yeah.
any
Yeah,
sort of.
I didn't remember that either. So maybe it's a cop thing that we didn't like understand.
So
They were like you missed your space in the fucking shit trough earlier. We were all bathing in it. Got him.
I'm just gonna go ahead and take a stretch after that
Yeah, you deserve it.
one. So John brings up the fact that the same thing had happened before to Robert Milano, but Stanton just tells him to go home for the day and take a load off. When John arrives back home, he's greeted by Sam and his friend Toby. He walks inside and notices a lamp on the desk is knocked over. Art walks by him and John asks about the lamp. He notices that Art has a black eye, and when he asks what happened, he tells him that Sam hit him, and John realizes that Basil is starting to target his family.
Yeah.
He he yells at Toby to leave his family alone.
I'm glad that you reminded me of that because there's another part. Everyone just saw me having to move my cat.
I
Uh,
love it. I have mine right here too, causing a fucking ruckus.
yeah, well, she would sit on my lap, we'd be fine, but she wants to climb on my
Yeah, on the back.
piano. Um, but yeah, there's a part later that I was thinking like the explanation would be either he got possessed or something more convoluted. So okay,
Hmm.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, he tells him that he he tells him that Sam hit him, and John realizes Hazel is starting to target him and his family. Damn,
Mhm.
can't speak. He runs out to confront Sam, but Azazel moves on to Toby. John yells at Toby to leave his family alone, but Azazel tells him, "Why? You come after me, I come after you and yours," and takes off running. John chases him down the street, and
He
Toby
said it's
bumps it.
war,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
exactly.
Now I
Yeah,
got a cat on my lap.
there we go. Now we're matching.
Hmm.
So John chases him down the street, and Toby bumps into a man. He pops back up, and John tells him to run home. The man walks to a nearby car and pulls out a pistol, firing at John in broad daylight. That shit was fucking crazy. He ducks behind a car for cover, and the man slowly keeps approaching him, telling him to come out. Once he does, the man begins speaking Aramaic before raising his weapon and preparing to fire. But before he can, he catches a bullet to the chest.
You know what we haven't mentioned is that these bodies all have writing on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been mentioning that they have the numbers, like they have the
Okay, okay,
18, and then I think the other one had two, and then we're about to see, yeah, soon is going to be another.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. The writing is going to literally be on the wall. We get another floating demon moment as he finds his way into a nearby onlooker. She begins singing to him before walking away. And Azazel explains that when a host dies, he just finds a new one. And later on, Stanton arrives at the crime scene and tears into John, asking how he's going to explain this to people. Because apparently the man's gun was filled with blanks and he got it from a stolen vehicle.
Of
That's fucking
course.
crazy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was thinking about that. I was like, how much orchestration went into this?
Yeah, exactly. But witnesses corroborated that he fired first. So John offers the suicide by cop angle, but Stanton thinks it's ridiculous. So they examine the body and they see the letters APO written on his chest. But they see the letters, yeah, instead of numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, APO.
Yeah, APO. Back at the precinct, Stanton gets off the phone and explains to John that he's just spoke to the man's wife. They just got married 4 months ago. She's pregnant, and he just got a raise at work. So with suicide angles, not going to hold any water. He tells John to turn in his weapon and that he's going to do his best to get the
Hey,
hearing to
hey,
happen
hey,
soon.
hey, hey. If I had one on the way, I would do a sewer slide by cop. No, I'm just kidding.
So stupid. You have a child. Look at the child in your lap.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, she's going at it, man. She
And
is
she's perfect.
affectionate as fuck. Ah.
Yeah, she likes to clean my beard with her
She
stinky
gotta
breath.
keep you looking proper, man. You're representing the family.
Exactly. I gotta wash my face when we're done, but it's worth it because she loves me.
Aw. So John sits down with Jonesy at his desk, and the two talk philosophy. What's the point of life? What's the point of life? You want a cigarette? I love I love it. His line delivery is fucking impeccable in this entire movie. I love this scene in particular though. John Goodman gets a real good moment right here. So he says, "What if once you got it all figured out, you die? You don't get to stick around anymore. You get promoted." And he points his finger up. So, uh, Jonesy ultimately says that he believes that his wife thinks that we're all here to do one thing. Hers is lasagna. I thought that was funny. Later on, John is on the phone with Greta, and the two are discussing how Azazel jumped into another host after John shot the man. The book he's reading explains that demons can only last for one breath or 500 cubits, which is roughly a sixth of a mile I have here from the notes.
That's
Which
wild.
I was like, damn, that's real specific.
Yeah.
When outside of a host, so when they're out, when he's in spirit form, that he can only go for so long. So the next morning, while John is getting ready for the day, he notices a window is open and the latch is broken off. When he closes it, he sees the letters CAL written on the mirror in marker. He runs over to Sam and asks him if he remembers anything from last night. He says that he just felt someone tickling him. So he pulls down his shirt enough to see the letter Y written in marker on his chest. He asks where his dad is, and Sam tells him that he's still in bed, being a sleepyhead. When John goes to check on him, he's laying there lifeless with the letters PSE written on his chest and a syringe next to him with the same poison as we've been seeing the whole film. Uh, this was genuinely a really sad moment. I was like, oh man, that damn, they did him dirty, bro. Like I was like, that's fucked up, man. I liked his character and like he didn't deserve none of that. The whole time he's getting shit talked by his son too. I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah, that was really really sad, and it I don't know, again, the whole angle like just made it feel so weird in certain ways, you know.
Mhm.
I was just like, I just don't know why that was part of the movie. But yeah, the whole like just put him down in his sleep like a fucking dog.
Yeah, yeah, but he just that's what I'm saying. It's cruel. You know what I mean? It's like it's cruel, and I think that's the whole point of the demon's thing is that it fucks with everybody he loves, and it's like ultimately there to kill everything he loves.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a thing that he said when he was talking to the son where Sam was like, Someone was drawing on my chest last night, or someone was
He
tickling
says
my
that yeah,
chest."
somebody was tickling my chest. Yeah.
And then he opens his shirt and it has, I think, just the Y
Mm-hmm.
in his on his chest. And then he says, "Why did you do that?" Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He asks, yeah, he's like, "Why did you do that? Yeah, why did you
y-
draw that? Yeah."
yeah. So, but there's also kind of a plot point about like it can't directly possess him, but it seems like it's possessing him at points in this movie,
Mm.
like John, because he,
Interesting. I never really noticed it until like, well, I mean, it's because it's blatantly at the end, but yeah, it keeps saying that he won't, like the demon saying he won't possess
yeah,
him.
and then he's yeah, but the kid Sam's like, "Why'd you draw this on me?"
Oh well, he was half asleep though too. He doesn't know if it was actually him. He says,
Hmm.
"Thank you for putting me back, or tucking me in last night or whatever." And he's like, "Do you remember who tucked you in or something like that?" And he's like, "No, but I just remember someone tickling my chest." So it was this weird,
Interesting.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, man, the movie has very quick dialogue. That's the thing too. It's very,
It
yeah,
really does, and it's very, very low.
yeah, which is very much also in the same. That's a noir like staple though. Like that's what noir movies always were. It's very quick dialogue, very quick dialogue. But you know, it's on us to catch up and get good. As the Dark Souls players we are.
As always.
So Jonesy calls John to tell him that Lou is coming to bring him in for more questioning. So he quickly grabs a bag and he grabs Sam on his way out. The two jump out of the apartment window and make a break for it. He tells Sam that his dad is still asleep and that they're going to go play a trick on someone, is how he phrases it. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, at fucking what, 8 a.m.? That's crazy. This kid is just game for it too. He's like, all right, let's roll.
Yeah, for real.
So
He's like
Jones,
he's like, I got a pack of fart bombs from the ice cream
yeah,
truck.
yeah.
I'm ready to raise heck.
Sack. That's good. So on the train, John asks a nun if the word apocalypse means anything to her, and she tells him that it was the Greek word for revelation. So
That
John,
shit is fucking hilarious because it's like I guess in the like public consciousness, it wasn't a very well-known word at that
At
time,
that
I
time, I guess.
guess.
Yeah.
Now everything's post-apocalypse, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But it's hella funny too. Like he would just be like, "Oh, I just get a sense that a woman of God would know what this is." You know, let me just ask a
yeah.
random person what this word means. Oh shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then
Just
yeah,
kind of
obviously
silly.
then at his points, it's the word for revelation. He's like, oh, like the Bible, the book of the Bible. She's like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, very, very just like in case you didn't pay attention to the first 5 minutes of the movie, this
Hmm.
has been about a demon.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I'll say, okay, I'll say this much. Very, yeah, it's very like like cut paint by numbers with the demon shit. It's very like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. These are the rules, and now here it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of very matter of fact. But I will say I like the simplicity of it too. There's something where it's like it's very nuanced in those in that simplicity. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like you don't need to complicate overcomplicate things. It could just be demon, demon
Hmm.
bad. You know, it's like all right, yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah, yeah, I know. So I like that. I
Yeah,
like that about this movie. I like the way that it, you know,
yeah, it's very simple.
yeah, yeah. So John stops to buy cigarettes at a kiosk and is recognized by a beat cop. He then proceeds to beat the cop and make a run for it with
Mm.
Sam. He beats the fuck out of that man. It's just like
Best thing he
he's
does in
like
the entire movie.
absolutely just fucking. He's like, hey, aren't you? He's like Detective John Holmes, aren't you? He's like, it's just
Piecing him
fucking.
up real quick.
It was funny as fuck. So they make a run for it. The two make their way underground through the subway station and set up camp with some houseless folk. John opens up the about the situation that they're in and tells Sam the truth about his dad. He's not asleep, is he? Did it hurt? And that I love the way that like he doesn't have to say much. He kind of just like inherently understands. He's like, yeah, and I'm not stupid. I know that that's what happened.
It's weird how completely emotionally he's just like I turned to Amanda and I was like, yeah, it kind of seems like the kid is just like, yeah, my old redacted dad sure was a drain on my life. You know, it's probably for the better. Like it
It
just
could
feel
be, yeah, it could be a mixture of things. Also, like he's a
it's
kid and doesn't really like that's not gonna register right away. You know what I mean? Like I know for sure I would have probably had a weird time comprehending that at that age. You know,
yeah, he's just so
but I
like
get it for
precocious.
in terms of like the story. Why is that there? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. I acknowledge.
But just the way he's just like, do you think you hurt him? Like he's talking like you put down an animal. You know?
God
Like
damn it.
tell me I'm wrong. I'm not even
No,
like
no,
trying to be funny.
I know. It's just the way you're phrasing it is fucked up.
It's
Oh
the
man.
I'm only like mockingly saying
Yeah,
what the
no.
film
I
appears to
know,
be
no,
saying.
you're right. You're not wrong. I That's what I'm saying. I do agree with you. I do agree with you. I don't think it takes away from this movie for me
Fair enough.
though. So he says, do you think he's gonna go to heaven? And he's like, I think so.
And he
He's
said all dogs do, son.
God
All dogs do.
damn it.
It's funny. He calls him son all the time. Like,
Uh,
do you think he was
yeah,
like
but
just
that's
banging his
like
brother's girlfriend?
no, no. That's a very. It's just like
That's
a
why his ex left him because she's like, that's your kid.
stupid. That's just a fucking term of endearment. I don't think that's like,
No,
yeah.
I'm being a real fucking silly guy.
That was good. So they make their way to Greta's house to lay low, and John does some more research while he's there. They just show up at her fucking doorstep at like 3 a.m. They're like, "Hey, on the run. What's up?"
They're just like, white woman,
God
open your door.
damn it.
And she's just like, oh, I'm more than happy to.
God damn it, Chad. Oh my
She's like
God.
a she's like a she's like a 12% more feminine Tilda Swinton.
That's what she does. Yeah, that's funny. She does. Yeah, yeah, she does resemble Tilda for sure. So he devises a plan to get Azazel out in the open. Greta tells him that he'll be even more dangerous when he's a spirit because he'll be fighting for his life. John prepares to leave on his own and says goodbye to Sam and Greta. On his way to the cabin, he's on the phone with Jonesy. The rest of the precinct is eavesdropping on the conversation to listen for clues about where he's headed. But he doesn't say much to give himself away, just that he's going to go sit by the water for a bit. When he gets to the cabin, the narration continues. This is where things get a little tricky. It's just me and him. It's just him and me now. Hobbs versus Azazel. I thought I had him.
Hobbs versus Shaw.
Sounds good. It's
Thank
so
you.
stupid. Hobbs versus Azazel. I thought I had him. He thought he had me too. I like the way that he specifically it's clever writing. It's clever writing. It's specifically if you look back at the narration, you could see the twist the whole time. You know what I mean? It's fucking fun.
Hmm.
Um so he waits until nightfall when suddenly a car arrives. We see the demon's POV looking at him through the trees. And when he yells for him to come out, Stanton reveals himself. He pulls a gun out on John and tells him to drop the weapon that he knows he has on him. When he refuses, Jonesy comes out of the shadows, pointing his gun at John and tells him to do what Stanton says. Before anything, for I fucking love the last like 15 minutes of this movie. They are so goddamn good. This is like the perfect way to end this specific film, I feel. And then you give John Goodman the fucking go ahead, the green light to just go the fuck off.
Hmm.
Holy shit. I love like watching this again, I was like fucking pumped for this shit. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck yes, dog. Specifically, I'll tell you right now, you know where I fucking cheered, but yeah, damn
It
sure it
makes
was
it makes use of him because it was kind of like, why is he even in this
in the
movie if
yeah,
he,
and the
you
well,
know?
because it's at some point it feels like he's supposed to be the moral compass, like like he's the one who's co-signing the good part of the job, whereas like Lou represents co-signing the bad part of the job. Where like if he was to agree
Yeah,
more
the
with Lou,
corruption.
yeah, exactly, like you know what I mean. So that's why I feel like they were trying to make him the moral compass, and then they did something really interesting with that in the movie, like in the realm of things as we're about to get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's hesitant and he tells Stanton that they should just leave him and make it look like he just disappeared, but Stanton tells him that it's not their job to decide if John is innocent. So Jonesy lifts his gun at John and tells him to drop his weapon. And when he does, Jonesy apologizes to Stanton. He says, "You've been on the force so many years, you think you've seen it all, but you haven't. Guess life always just gives you one more surprise," and then proceeds to blow the man's brains out like a CEO, bro. That shit was
Yep.
fucking crazy. I was like, yo.
Left out a
Dude,
little
like,
fucking helium balloon and everything.
yeah, dude, it was fucking wild. Like when that flip happens, I think like still it's just still as effective as it was when I was a kid. Like I was like, that shit fucking
Yeah,
slaps, dude.
well they lead you the whole movie to make you think that Stanton is being
Might
under
be
the
under
demon's
the yeah the
control
impression
like
yeah.
from the beginning.
Hmm.
Like he's constantly on him about how like, hey, be careful or you're gonna be a suspect. Oh, you're a suspect. Oh, would you look at that? We gotta bring you in, you know? So like
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
yeah. It over time it really seems that way. So it just seems like yeah, John like my first thought was like, oh man, John Goodman's gonna die because this guy's the demon.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, exactly. Which again, I love that it subverted those expectations though, because it completely goes sideways. Like it completely. I love that he's in there because it's a complete curveball at the end that you're just not expecting. You just cannot expect that ending. Like you know there's gonna be a twist, you know that there's gonna be something, but then like that shit happens. I was like, oh hell yeah. Like fucking Mr. Hoblit did not disappoint, man. Or I don't know if he wrote this. I don't know if I don't think he wrote this. I think he just directed. But shout out to
Yeah,
the
just see
writer.
direct. Oh,
Yeah,
screenplay Nick Kazan.
that's what it was. Yeah, yeah. So shout out Mr. Kazan. Thank you. Azazel mocks John and tells him to give him the gun, or tells him to run, and that his partner just freed him. When he doesn't move, he shoots at his feet and makes him flee. He sings a little bit and asks him, "You like the Stones, John? I bet you didn't, you monkey fan pussy."
Oh, that's okay. Now I understand.
Yeah, yeah, he's just fucking talking shit about the monkeys.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, that was a weird place to take it. It still is, but now I
No,
understand.
you're fucking terrible.
I wasn't even trying to be funny. I genuinely thought I was like, that was a weird form of racism
Yeah, yeah,
to.
yeah, to throw him in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, no,
now I
no,
under. I mean, he's a
no,
demon.
yeah.
Demons are.
Yeah, for sure. I get it, but goddamn. No, Phil. And you know what? Not out of place to in a 90s movie to expect that.
Yeah,
Not out of place. Yeah,
exactly.
completely
So
not out
zero
of place. So
0% humor meant for me when I say
100%.
that.
It
You know.
just was hilarious that it came out like that. I was like, Jesus Christ. So he continues taunting him and he telling him that he can kill him quickly, but it would just be one more wasted human life. Or he could possess him and rack up even more murders before he's done with him. When he lifts the gun to his own head, John jumps down from the second floor and tries wrestling the gun out of his hand. Jonesy is shot in the scuffle, and as he lays there bleeding out, John smugly takes his gun away and sits on the front steps of the cabin to catch his breath. Azazel asks him why he wouldn't let him just kill himself. John tells him that he needs more time, that Jonesy can't die too fast. He tells Azazel that he believes Milano came to the cabin to try and achieve what he's going to do. He pulls out the pack of cigarettes from earlier and he puts one to his lips. Azazel asks, "What's this? You don't smoke anymore." John replies, "That's right, I don't. You know why? Because cigarettes kill, especially cigarettes laced with poison. The same poison you used to kill my brother." The reality sinks in and Azazel starts to panic. John apologizes to Jonesy and shoots him in the head. When Azazel leaves the body, he jumps into John, who frantically begins running into the woods, crawling and gasping for air like we saw in the beginning of the film. So, like I said at the start, I was beaten, outsmarted, outsmarted, and outsmarted and poisoned by Detective John Hobbs.
Outsmartified.
By Detective John Hobbs. Yes, a demon can die, and Hobbs figured out how to beat me at my own game. So what? The war isn't over, I promise you. Not by a long shot. At this moment, we see Azazel's spirit fly overhead and dive underneath the cabin. The little guy we saw earlier emerges from the shadows, and the narration continues. "Oh, you forgot something, didn't you? At the beginning, I said I was going to tell you about the time I almost died. See you around." We get a final shot of a crowded city block as the camera pans up and the credits roll to Sympathy for the Devil by the Stones. And that's
Yep,
followed.
another free song for the Warner Music Group.
Damn right. And it fucking slaps. It fucking.
Uh,
Oh.
it's funny because that the cat at the end looks exactly like Biscuit's dad, our other cat.
That's so
And
funny.
I immediately turned to Biscuit and I was like, "Oh, is that why you act the fucking way you do?
Yeah. You're like,
Is that why
explains a
you're
lot,
you?
buddy.
Yeah, oh, now I get it." So I that's the level on which I really enjoyed the ending.
That's so funny. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like we can go. Obviously, we'll trickle into it, but I feel like it was an effective. It's such an efficiently written movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's not really wasted time. There's not a lot of points where like it drags at all. Like there are
I
always things going that keep the mystery going. You know what I mean?
I kind of disagree.
Okay.
A lot of the movies we watch on here, I'm like, man, they could have cut a lot of time from this.
Hmm.
I kind of feel like calling it Fallen and having the draw in be that it's a demon just sort of makes it like for an hour and a half I was like, Jesus Christ, man, figure it out already.
Well,
Like
because
it
it's
just
not
there's
like at that point, I think they were like, even if you look at the directors of their movies too, he did I think it was Fractured with oh my God, Anthony Hopkins. Uh,
mm,
it's it's Anthony Hopkins and who? You know what? I'm gonna look this up. But if you look at his filmography, he is known for like those gritty crime type of ones. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's Fracture, Primal Fear is another one. Wow, he did a Roe v. Wade movie. Oh man,
mm.
that's messed up. Just to think
I
about it
wonder
now in
who wins in
context.
that one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like Untraceable, like he's done a lot of like crime thrillers. You know what I mean? That's mostly what he's known for. And I feel like him
Hmm.
stepping out and doing something like this is the type of movie I would expect from someone who knows only that type of world and is trying to incorporate it somehow into the new stuff that he's writing. You know what I mean?
Hmm. He's like, well, in my police movie, I'm gonna make sure that they're extra useless because that's how they are in real life.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I
Um,
mean,
but
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I just felt like there wasn't really a mystery, and it was kind of an inversion of how I felt about Longlegs because in Longlegs I was like, well, the whole mystery was sort of for nothing because the ending like invalidated it in a lot of ways. And then this was sort of like, well, there was no mystery to begin with because we just knew the whole time, like, yeah, it's a demon, and
Mhm.
that's what's going on here. So it's kind of like I don't know. Like if I didn't know that was happening and the movie did a little better job of like hiding it for a while, because like 12 minutes into it, people are touching each other and we're getting piss vision and they're fucking singing the song two words at a time throughout the station, and it's just like, oh, okay. But there wasn't enough like intrigue built up to be like, whoa, that's creepy or that's crazy. It was just like, yeah, I fucking know. Like, hopefully he gets it now.
Yeah, for sure. I've well, go ahead, give your rating then. Go ahead, go off, King.
Yeah, we rate out of six here because a
Thank
long
you.
time ago there were three of us, so we would a perfect rating would be 666. Miss you, Austin. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was like terrible. I definitely don't think it was as bad as Longlegs. But
Yeah.
I just kind of, I feel like this is the pitfall of writing detectives is often you like people don't know how to do it. So like it happens with Batman as well. It's how I felt about the Batman. Like
Hmm.
he would just be sitting around scratching his head and then Alfred would be like, "Well, that's not how Spanish works, dickhead." You know? And that was kind of like this too. Like he would just be like, I don't know what to do. And then he would get a phone call and they'd be like, yeah, so this is what you should do next. And he'd be like, good. Yeah, so this is what we're doing, everybody.
That's funny. Yeah.
So it was just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Uh, Yusuke's not helping right now.
She's
Uh,
like, hold on, let me massage him first so he's not tense when he makes this rating.
yeah, don't climb on my piano. Um, God, I think a four. It's
Okay,
solid. It's got good
that's pretty
performances.
generous.
It's not a terrible movie. It's not a terrible plot. I just think that they could
There
have
could have
done
been done.
more
Yeah, they
of
could have
of
done more.
making it an actual mystery.
Hmm.
Like with the whole time we had all the pieces from the beginning. So it wasn't like, oh, we're just looking for this one little piece to like get the
Yeah, that it's a demon. Well, that's what I feel like. That's why I liked Longlegs in that regard because of the fact that it was. Yeah, you're right. The whole setup beforehand was like it's not like supernatural. and then it just is. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
was it was like more mysterious in Longlegs, but it
hmm
still had that
hmm
similar issue of she didn't really like detect or figure anything out. She was having visions, and then ultimately Satan was just giving her those visions. So it just ended up being like, well, so I guess Satan wanted to lose, but then and in this he won at the end, so at least there's that.
yeah, exactly.
At
So it was a
least
happy ending.
like the one person who could stop him is dead now, so at least the Azazel got something out of all of this,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to Longlegs, where I'm just like, I don't think anyone really got anything out of this, and what he took from Lee, like it sucks for Lee, but to the immortal, eternal devil,
hmm
it's not really that big of a deal to just like kill some lady's mom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel
In return for oh she sat on the keyboard in return for you know
like power or some shit. I don't even know.
well like he killed her mom but gave up his like link to the world and his servant
hmm
who was helping him gather energy for the fucking evil spirit bomb,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Getting all the evil juju. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like what the fuck. So this at least at the end I was like, well, the demon got to kill a bunch of people and he's still gonna get to kill people,
Yeah.
so whatever. I you
All's well that
know
ends well, baby.
Yeah, it's like I can at least see why he's doing the things he's doing because there's a point where he comes up to him in a woman's body right after the shooting, and he's like, "Oh, why don't you just kill me now?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm just having fun." But there's nothing Denzel can do because what's he gonna do? Just kill this innocent woman?
hmm
You know, he only kills
Yeah.
Jonesy because he decides that it's serious enough that him and his friend being sacrificed might be necessary.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Which all right, that's fair. I mean, I'll say this much. I was very curious to see what you thought about this movie. And that is way more generous than I thought you would be about this movie. So I'm glad that you liked it. Because again, only
Yeah.
because I only say that because of the long legs conversation being because you have to talk about long legs when you talk about this movie. Like this literally was an inspiration for the movie. There's no way that what's his name Osgood Perkins hasn't seen this film. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, like I that's cool. So it's cool to know that you did fuck with this movie though. That makes me feel good actually on a personal level.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bones are solid. It doesn't totally execute in the way that I would want it to, but I don't, I can see especially how like if you grew up with it, like I said about From Hell, like
hmm
I know From Hell is not the best movie ever.
Yeah.
And From Hell has the same problem. He's just slamming heroin and having visions and everything's just getting fixed for him. But, I saw it when I was 13, so
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, 100%. And
what can I say?
yeah, no, no,
What can I say?
no, go
Throughout this entire movie, Denzel had that shit on.
ahead. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, always with the fits. Yeah, bro, that's fucking Denzel, dude. He always got that shit on, bro.
He's fitted heavily. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
his brother in a time when they would say his diagnosis was Asperger's, which is
hmm
not they don't give that out anymore.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not a
yeah,
diagnosis.
yeah.
Uh, but his brother's just like in a bathrobe all day,
Yeah, that's true.
and
Yeah, literally, it's like more
then
bathrobe than anything. It's so funny.
it's hilarious that that was like the shorthand for like this fucking guy ain't got nothing to do
Yeah,
back then.
just
Like
lounging.
anybody, yeah, anybody on a TV show or movie that's just like
Yeah,
unemployed,
that
they
is
just be in a
shorthand.
fucking
Yeah,
like bathrobe all day.
that's funny.
So strange,
All right,
so
so
strange.
so
So what about
okay,
you?
I man, is nostalgia gonna cloud this judgment? Probably, probably. Like it probably is. But like I said, I like watching it all over again though. Like with a mature mind as I have now, I still didn't mind like the little bits, like the leaps in logic that it was making, or like it was asking you to, because again, growing up in the Catholic Church and shit, it really was always just demon bad. You know what I mean? That's all you were
Yeah,
ever fed your entire fucking life. And so this was
yeah,
like simplified enough to be like, oh yeah, like demon bad. I know for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the logic just kind of fell into place for me. You know what I mean? So like
yeah.
that was just my yeah, like my
You
initial reaction to it was kind of like
so
surprised that it was simple, but it was pleasant surprise.
so do you think Art was killed by, obviously Azazel's the one doing it, but do you think by Sam or by like someone else came in
No, it was
and took
someone else
Sam
coming
to
in. Yeah,
bed?
because he looks over at the window and the windows the notch on the window is
Oh,
broken. Yeah, that's what leads him to see the thing on the CAL on the mirror. Cause yeah, that was
mm,
written on the wall. Like, yeah, it was literally like you see the things broken. He's like looking, he's like, what the fuck? And then he sees that and he runs over.
okay.
Hmm.
Because that's what I was thinking. Because there's a part where he's like, Sam punched me. So I was like, damn, did he make him kill his own dad?
For sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, would have been even probably a more interesting way to write that. But
Because
yeah, but they did leave the breadcrumbs is to say that yeah, just someone broke in.
they did say that he has to touch people to change unless he dies, and then he has like the one breath to get to
Hmm.
someone else, which is such a weird, arbitrary way to put it.
Yeah, yeah. But I will say they've set the rules and they stick to them. You know what I mean? Like they very much was like, okay, we set up these very clear, simple, really easy to understand rules, and we adhere to them.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying.
So what's your rating? Put a number on it.
So like I said, I so having all of that, I feel like, and again, also I will put this in there as a huge caveat. I love noir films. I love a good like detective movie, fucking weird, get gritty with it, get fucking weird with it. I love a noir film. This has all of the classic tropes of a noir film down to like the detective and like the love he can't find or can't have, whatever. All of that shit is in here and it's all very done very by the book, very well, very neatly, I will say. So like as a film structure, I think it's perfect. I think it works. I think all of it, again, the pacing, it works for me because the mystery is kind of just drawn out at this pace. It may have been, you're right. If you know what's already happening, it's like, let's go, buddy, let's get to it. Like I get how that can be a little bit of a turn on
I
for
th
people, but like as something like you would teach to someone about like, oh, this is how you would probably like go about setting up script structure. You know what I mean? I feel like this one works in that realm.
Yeah, I think this is one that's best if you're going to show it to somebody. Like, just sit down and watch it with them, and just be like, "Let's just watch this movie." Like,
Yeah,
don't tell them much about it, because I
exactly.
think it really does itself a disservice by being like, "Fallen," the movie about where there's a serial killer who's
Yeah.
really a demon, and it's
Yeah.
just
If
like,
you watch a trailer, it gives every fucking thing away. I was watching it, was like, it's like a 3 minute trailer. I was like, what the fuck? It's the entire movie, just condensed. It's literally the entire movie. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why does this exist? But all that being said, perfect film in my eyes. Yes, nostalgia has a big fucking factor to do it. Again, I this is one of the early ones that I loved growing up, and I just continue to love today. 6 out of 6. That's very, very. It's no surprise there for sure. This is just such a fucking good movie. John Goodman's performance at that end had me
yeah,
fucking
especially when he's
standing up,
singing.
dude. Yes, dude, that's what I
He
mean. It's so
he,
he puts his fucking
he
back into that performance, dude.
Whenever there's a live action Foghorn Leghorn movie, they better call him.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, he's so good. Oh my God. I fucking yeah. I adore the cast. Everybody's great. Everybody's doing their fucking acting their asses off, like I said. Movie's great. It's a great one. I feel like it's a good one. Like I said, growing up with it, now it's just a warm blanket of a movie for sure. Every time I watch it now, it's just like it feels familiar, it feels good. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, that hope you guys enjoyed it. What are they getting next week? What are we hitting them with?
I thought it was either American or Canadian, so I'm shocked to find out that the 2002 movie Dog Soldiers is from the UK, and
Oh
that's what
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
be.
yep, yep.
Yeah, I
Hell
forgot
yeah.
they're Scottish
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
movie
yeah, yeah, in the movie, yeah. Yeah, dude, I watched it recently too. I think I saw it like last year for the
on the
first time.
Sci-Fi Channel.
No. I think I just saw it randomly last year because I think it's on Shutter right now. And I
It
think
would
like
be good
yeah,
timing.
yeah. So like I saw it on Shutter when it was like first on there. I was like, I know Chad's been wanting to talk about wanting to cover this. Let me just fucking watch it. Watched it, had a great time, had a great fucking time. I was like, damn, dude, this movie, like, it is a fun ass movie. Not spoiling ratings for that one, but go watch that movie. It's a good one, and especially right now, we were talking about there's werewolf fever going on right now. We got Wolfman, we got
There's a
Edgar.
lot, yeah.
Robert Eggers just got announced for another werewolf movie.
Zawolf,
Werewolf, werewolf, werewolf.
Werewolf. That's how they're gonna say it in the movie. Werewolf.
I fucking love Young Frankenstein. Bro. Anyway,
What knockers?
that's what it's a perfect that talking about a perfect movie, dude. We're not gonna start with it. I will go off all day. Yeah, there's room potentially down the road. We'll start getting to fucking our favorite horror comedies, and Young Frankenstein is one of the greatest horror comedies ever written,
Ever.
ever. Anyway. There you guys are getting Dog Soldiers next time we see you, and if we can in that time, we're hoping to squeeze in a quickie. Hoping to get to, I think Companion comes out next week, and I've been really fucking excited about that movie.
Well, you say next week, but we're a few because of the different schedules of how we record
Oh yeah,
things.
that's right. There's gonna be out of place. So hopefully
A
you'll
month
have
ago,
heard.
Companion came
hopefully
out,
hopefully
so
you'll
we
have heard
did
of
an
Companion.
episode.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh man, time isn't fucking real.
It's not.
All right.
It's
Well,
not.
you want to hit them with the socials?
Yeah, so we've been the Devil's Work podcast. You can find us on any podcatcher of your choosing. Please give us a review, a thumbs up, a 5 star, highest possible rating you can give us.
If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, do all that.
Yeah, because it really helps. Um, Speaking of YouTube, just search the Devil's Work podcast and you'll find us. We're on
Should be a link in the
Facebook.
description too.
We're on Facebook and TikTok at the Devil's Work Podcast. We're on Instagram at the Devil's Work Pod. And if you want to, tell me I'm wrong for blaspheming by not, loving Fallen, you can reach out to us at the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to complain about us, praise us like the good boys we are, or let us know about a movie that you think we should cover. We'd love to hear it.
100%. And I'm a Twitch streamer now, as it turns out. So you can go ahead and find the link in the description as well. But I play video games on Saturdays. I'm trying to keep it to, regular schedules, but life's got hands recently, and I'm trying to ease back into this. So come over and join us. I watch movies that we cover on the show sometimes. So it's a good chance to hang out, get a little more insight. I get fucking silly, stupid high whenever we do those. So it's a good time. So if you enjoy our
Hell
silliness,
yeah, brother.
good check that out at twitch.tv/sideshow PSY. Spell it right. And yeah, I think that'll about do her.
Yeah, so
What
when you're out in the woods and you see a little brown and black tabby looking motherfucker, you better go the other way.
if you see an image that looks similar to this one, you
Let
you turn and you run, damn it.
Look, Biscuit's dad, literally, we would see him like outside of our window when we lived in Richmond. We would see him like walking on the fence line all the time and shit.
uh
And he was such a big, thick boy. And he just like he would turn around and you would just see it's like in an anime when they show the Tadukis. Like that fool just had like like my clenched fist just fucking swinging between his legs, and I named him Texas Toast.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Hence Biscuit. That's incredible.
Well, we named Amanda named Biscuit, and then I named his dad Texas
Oh,
Toast,
that's
and
amazing.
then we saw his sister outside, and I was like, "Oh, it's Cookie."
No, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh
If he
man.
if we saw a brother of his, it would probably have been Bagel.
Yeah, go check out the video on this to see both of our children. Like this was a very cat heavy episode. We didn't realize.
It really was. I
I
don't
didn't
know where
realize
she is. Yeah.
she's usually not in the room, so that's a pretty good treat. All
Yeah.
right,
Oh,
you
she's
guys.
by my drum. She's like, "Fuck you, man."
Yeah,
Just
yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.
all
Later.
right. Bye.